Hi everyone, it's really lovely to be with you again, and this time we are going to be talking about learning. That is a subject very close to my heart. As a professional coach, learning is at the centre of all of my work, and from a personal perspective, I hold a core value of curiosity, which links me inextricably to learning all the time. Sometimes I like this and sometimes I don't. As a woman who is in the middle of her life, I feel like I'm learning more about stuff to do with life now than I've ever learned before. And again, sometimes it's formal, sometimes it's informal, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it isn't. And sometimes we know that learning can be really scary, it can be really tough, and it can leave us feeling actually quite vulnerable. But I also know that I've learned more, arguably much more, from these tough moments in my life than I've learned from any others. And maybe you feel the same way. So it's this tougher aspect of learning that we're really going to hone in on today. What happens to us when learning gets hard? And what can we do to help ourselves move through this point? So I'd like to start by talking about learning in context, because learning follows a pattern, and a pattern that you may be familiar with. We like to show it like this. So if we think about these 4 quadrants, I'm going to focus on the bottom 2. The first quadrant is what we call unconscious incompetence. Sometimes it's called unconscious incapability. And this sounds quite harsh, hey? Because this is at the point at which we don't know what we don't know. We might be completely unaware. Might be blissful ignorance, which means that actually Q1 can often be quite an okay place for the individual to be. What's really, really important is the move to Q2 has nothing to do with the change in competence. We remain incompetent, but it has everything to do with the shift in our awareness of it. So in short, something happens. It might be an event, an experience, might be a mistake that moves the awareness, the consciousness of the person, and they move across into what we call Q2. At this point, things change dramatically for the person learning, because that shift in consciousness means they're very aware of what they don't know, and it means that actually they really can feel that it's a horrible, uncomfortable feeling of exposure. Sometimes when working with clients, they talk about it as quite a stressful place to be. Carl Jung once said, if we don't make the unconscious conscious, then we accept our behaviours as a fact of life. In other words, we can only change something though once we are aware of it. So although Q2 may be a really uncomfortable place for people to go in, can leave people feeling quite exposed, it is essential when we think about how people move forward, when we think about how we learn, and when we think about how we grow. So if we're going to accept that to learn and to grow, we have to go through this uncomfortable, sometimes painful, not always, Q2, then it poses the question about what can we do to help ourselves move through it as smoothly as possible. Moving through Q2 requires one specific thing. It requires us to build ourselves a ladder. And this ladder represents the increase in our competence levels, i.e. us getting just better at something. But how do we do this? How do we get better? We get better by knowing what better looks like, having a goal to work towards. We get better by having the information and the resources necessary to allow us to achieve that goal. We get better by having a helping hand of support nearby. We have to climb the ladder, but having a hand there as we are climbing is incredibly powerful. We get better by having the opportunity to have a go and try out things. We need exposure to the thing that we are trying to learn. And we get better by having moments to reflect and to capture our progress, to monitor how we are doing and to receive some feedback. These are the core rungs that make up that ladder, which ultimately moves us from Q2 up and into Q3. So next time you find yourself in Q2, these are the things for you to ask and find. Sometimes they may be offered to you, sometimes you have to go out and search for them. But either way, we need them to get ourselves up to the top of that ladder. And you know, once we are there, it gets a whole heap easier. So, this is the pattern of life: learning and moving, changing, experiencing, and growing. And I hope that I've offered you something today that will be useful for you and enable you to positively thrive the next time you find yourself learning and in that slightly uncomfortable phase and thinking, how do I get myself out of this? If you'd like to find out more, please feel free to reach out to us at www.motionlearning.com or feel free to contact me directly via LinkedIn. I'll see you soon again very, very soon. And for now, keep learning.